What is going on, guys? My name is Keggernaut, but just call me Keg, and welcome back to the Nighthold tanking series for both normal and heroic. This is not going to cover any mythic mechanics, just strictly normal and heroic, and today's boss that we're going to be going over is Tichondrius. So first things first, Tichondrius is a 2-tank fight. However, with some classes and with exceptional gear, you can actually make this a 1-tank fight and therefore slot in an extra DPS or a healer as you need be. But first, I'm going to go over the 2-tank strats and explain it that way. So first things first, there's 2 different strategies and they'll both work. One of them is you're going to put one marker on one side of the room and another marker on the other side of the room. One of them is going to be designated to tanking Tichondrius, usually where he's already standing, and the one on the other side of the room, complete opposite, is going to be where you're going to be tanking these adds that Tichondrius spawns later into the fight. So how this works basically is both tanks are going to start off on Tichondrius at the beginning of the fight. Shortly into the fight, he will be marking the main tank with a debuff that is called Feast of Blood. Tichondrius marks a player, increasing their physical damage taken by 15% and summoning 3 tainted bloods that fixate the target. In addition, this effect increases the effects of vampiric aura by 300%, and it's worthy to note that Tichondrius automatically has a buff on himself that is called vampiric aura, and it says Tichondrius allies within 30 yards are healed for 700% of the damage dealt by melee attacks. So basically what this yells out to you is that you want to keep the adds away from Tichondrius. One, because of the already 700% extra healing that they're going to do, but then also whatever tank has aggro on the adds that has the Feast of Blood debuff, it's going to be 1000% more healing on their attacks. So you're going to want to make sure that you can take those adds away, which is where we designated another marker at the other side of the room where one tank can take all of those adds over there and the DPS can burn them and then go back over to the boss. When the first tank is going to be marked with Feast of Blood, that is a taunt swap. So then the tank that has not have the debuff yet is going to taunt the boss and start tanking him and leave him in the same position that he's already standing, while the other tank goes ahead and kites the adds over to the other designated location. That's pretty simple. That's all it is really in phase 1. You just keep taunt swapping off of this debuff for Feast of Blood, and every time the adds spawn, you just take them over there to a different part of the room. Now that's really it for phase 1. All the tanks are going to be doing is taunting off of this debuff called Feast of Blood. So whenever the adds spawn, just take them away over to a different part of the room, nuke them, and then that's really it. So for phase 2, there's another one called Illusionary Night where he's going to be casting. It's not a debuff, it's not anything. Basically, Tichondrius just leaves the room and you'll know because obviously he'll disappear, but then also your screen will kind of get blurry. And what happens in this phase is that there's a bunch of bats that start spawning all around the room, which you and your other tank both have to grab aggro of these bats and try and make a giant death ball where your DPS can just blow them up. These bats will drop a little purple orb that everybody, mostly if they can get it, needs to grab because it's going to increase their damage done. But you want to prioritize healers getting this because it's going to restore mana. That's not really a tank thing, that's mostly on like raid execution, but aside from that, it's really important to know. After phase 2, Tichondrius will spawn again, and you will just have to continue fighting him. He won't get any extra health, nothing, he'll be exactly as he was, but now you guys all have a damage buff because of the orbs that these bats dropped. So after phase 2, we just go straight back into phase 1. It's exactly the same. The only difference is after the first time he comes back from his bat phase, then he's going to start spawning these extra adds that are literally just Nightborn soldiers, where that's just another 2 people that the tank has to grab. Doesn't really matter which, you just got to bring them to Tichondrius, or you can go ahead and take them over to where the bloods usually are tanked and then just kill them there real quick so that they don't get this crazy leech effect that Tichondrius has for all nearby allies. So that's really it. Then when he goes into his bat phase again, you rinse and repeat, and when he comes out for a second time, then you have to completely do the bloods all over again, just like I had mentioned before. You have the Nightborn adds, and then you have one big Legion add that is just going to do some damage. Nothing really too bad, just all the DPS have to kill him. Usually the boss is dead by this point, or is almost dead, so you don't really have to worry too much about this extra Legion add. But aside from that, that's really it for phase 1 and 2. It's pretty simple. You just taunt swap on a debuff and you take the adds out away from Tichondrius. So that's really it. That's the super easy peasy strategy. However, if you guys have the DPS, which most groups by now, even in pug groups, should have enough DPS to do this next strategy, where you still taunt swap in phase 1, You still taunt swap as usual with 2 tanks. However, all you do is just keep the adds on top of Tichondrius. That's really it. You just damage deal through the leech effect. All the adds are going to be healing, but if you can kill them fast enough, then it doesn't matter because they're obviously dead. So that's one way you can just get really massive cleave on the boss, just never-ending DPS, and then you can technically kill the boss faster. However, if you're not able to do that and you don't have the damage, then you can just do it the first route. Now, there is another strategy where if you have a super geared tank, or you have super geared DPS, or if you just have a Brewmaster, not even gonna lie, if you have a Brewmaster, there is another strategy where you can literally just solo tank this fight, and I will be posting a video tomorrow on exactly how I did it as my Brewmaster monk. Now, when you're solo tanking, there's literally nothing really that you have to do. You just put Tichondrius over on one spot of the room, and then you make sure that all the adds are on top of him like you usually do with 2 tanks. However, now you only do it as 1 tank, so it's a little bit more damage taken, and it's going to require a lot more DPS from your raid, because you want to kill those adds fast before the damage starts to rack up on you, and you definitely don't want them to last too long, because then it's just going to start crumbling down, and you might wipe. But really, that's it. I mean, this can be solo tanked, as you're going to be seeing in the video tomorrow that I post. This can be solo tanked, this can be 2 tanked. It's much easier to do it with 2 tanks. However, if you just feel like getting a really quick kill, or you can manage it with only 1 tank, then it's definitely viable. So that's basically the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in more of the Nighthold tanking series for normal and heroic, you can click the playlist in the description down below, or you can click the next video over on your right hand side on the screen. Thank you very much. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.